God is real, and there's a reason why you can't hear him. And this really goes into the real reasons why a lot of the manifestation practices that you're trying, like with the fundamental principle, thoughts create reality, are simply not working. And it seems like the thoughts that you have are just remaining thoughts, and they're dreams and they're visions, and they're not fully manifesting within reality. And once you get the principle of like how to actually listen to God and what you need to do in order to be able to do that, all of those manifestations will start resonating in this reality and becoming the real things that you're trying to create. And sometimes it's actually, the thoughts create reality actually works, but it's not always super consistent. And there's a really big reason for that. Now, there are ancient texts that highlight and have the keys to all of these principles. But what I'm seeing out here on YouTube and in social media, and even in many of the books that have been written for, the past 100 years, they're completely missing this concept. And I don't understand why nobody's talking about this. But once you get this, it's literally going to change everything for you. So if we go to the Bible, we see 1 Corinthians, and this quote really embodies this at its core. 1 Corinthians 6:19. Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God, and you are not your own? Now you can read this and just like, it maybe doesn't really make sense to you, or you can go and ask a priest or any kind of like religious teacher, and they're probably going to tell you, you're not your own. You're supposed to give yourself to God and all that stuff. And while that's true, I think it's really missing the key point here. And this is something that in my journey of personal development, spiritual development, trying to figure out what my own specific purpose was in this earth, in this plane of reality, that I was missing and I wasn't really understanding. And I'm going to introduce a concept to you in this video that I think will really set the tone for the rest of my YouTube channel and everything that I'm going to drop on here and teach and speak with from my own experience as a chiropractor, as someone who's been in the fitness space for over 20 years now, looking at ways on how to transform physically and also help people physically. And that leading me into some of the concepts that are really the keys to having the life that you want to have. And this is harmonic manifestation, the concept of harmonic manifestation. Most manifestation principles out there are just thoughts, emotions create things. Thoughts, emotions create things. And that is a key. That's important, but it's missing the core of it. So we have this body that we were given by God to go and create and have an experience of life. And most of us recognize that, but what we don't realize is that our body is a vessel. Our body is a vessel for that creative force to work through. And what we're saying here in 1 Corinthians is that we have to become and give our bodies to that higher power that can create things beyond our own imagination. I do not know one person that could imagine even from scratch creating a tree or a bird or a dog or a human body. No person could even imagine to create those things. We can only kind of reflect on what is already in existence and create based upon that. So if we want to have our truest creative potential, we have to embody God. We have to allow God, the energy of the universe, the oversoul, to work through us unimpeded, uninterrupted, as clear as possible. And now on my own journey, I would always get this message or always set this intention of clarity. I would go to masterminds with a lot of very successful people, and my intention for that was to get clarity. And I would go do spiritual retreats and meditations and things like that, and my intention was to get clarity. And I would always get the same answer. And I thought it just had to do with the fact that I was a chiropractor. But I really think that this answer is the key. And the answer was the body is the key. And it didn't really make sense to me at the time fully. It wasn't clear enough to understand what that actually meant. But if we go to the keys of harmonic manifestation through resonance, what we see is that our thoughts are, our body is all geometry basically, and our brain is taking this geometry and making it into a form of how we see and experience the world. Thoughts, sounds, all these things are frequencies, and our bodies are actually just geometry. Our DNA is just geometry. But we see it in the form of people and plants and animals and rocks. But when you do certain things and you have certain experiences, a lot of people will see what's called sacred geometry, and that's really just the unveiling of what reality actually is. So our body is actually that geometry. And our thoughts, so what has to happen is our thoughts are the y-axis. Our thoughts are that vision. Our thoughts are that thing that projects and is supposed to align that geometry, the reality that we want to experience. But we also need to align our own physical geometry through what's called resonance, right? You don't attract what you think. You don't attract what you feel. You attract and you experience what you are. So this is why you see a lot of people in the manifestation space evolving from just thoughts and emotions create things into, you have to become the person that experiences those things that you want to manifest, right? If you want to be a millionaire, you have to embody a millionaire. If you want to be a fit person, you have to embody the concepts, the beliefs, all those things of a fit person, the identity of a fit person. And you will never out manifest your own identity. And identity actually goes deeper than just like what your thoughts are and what your beliefs are. And it goes into this concept of resonance, right? So resonance, you attract what you are. Well, how can you attract what you are when the key, the antenna, the physical body, the nervous system is out of alignment and out of coherence with those frequencies that you're putting out through thought, through vision? It's never going to happen. So what we need to do is actually embody the geometry of our physical bodies and create coherence within our physical selves and tune the antenna, which is the central nervous system, the receiver for God to work through. And this is something that, as a chiropractor, I've known this principle. Most people think of it as just, for neck pain and back pain and things like that. But what it's really is, the core concept is removing the interference within the body, within the nervous system, so that this, what they call innate intelligence, which is essentially God, can work through you and organize, the organizing principle, can organize and help and heal any disease process within the physical body. And this goes beyond just like your health, right? Because your body is these geometry, these waveforms, but so is all of reality around you. And all of reality around you is you experiencing that. It's just you projecting that out there. So this is the core. Like, this is where everything comes through. Your physical body is the intersection of 3D reality and God, this energy, this higher dimensional world working through. This is the centerpiece for it. So if you ignore that and you don't work with that, you're going to hit a lot of roadblocks, and the things that you are trying to bring into your life will either not show up, or they will show up temporarily, and maybe not in the way that is totally in alignment with the vision that you're trying to create, because there's interference. So what we see in the physical body, when we have, this can tell you a lot about how coherent and how resonant, what your resonance is actually doing within the physical body. Like if you have any sort of health issues, any body misalignments, any physical pain, any sort of physical symptoms are going to tell you about the resonance of the coherence of your field, and where there's actually, what if there's actually interference in that connection. So when you have this interference, you're actually creating a block for that divine energy to work through you and manifest things that are way beyond your even own imagination, that are probably even better for you, because you don't actually always know what's 100% best for you. And this is also why you see a lot of people in the manifestation space or personal development and trying to help you have a better life. They start going into health or biohacking and these things that just optimize and align your physical body, like detoxing and exercising and eating real food and hacking your sleep. Because what they're doing, they may not know, is removing that interference in that connection. So that way, the work that they're doing with the thoughts and emotions and things like that will come through a lot more clear. And you even see it in practices like within Joe Dispenza's practice, right? His practice, if you're familiar, where a lot of people are, and he's very popular, and he used to be a chiropractor, which is, I think, why this is a key piece to what he's doing. And a lot of people don't really understand and know this, is there's an embodiment factor in using your physical body to align those thoughts and those emotions and transmit them and create them and make them magnetic. So that way you become the magnet. You become in resonance, not residence, with the reality that you're trying to manifest. So if you're doing all these practices and you're just, thoughts create things, but thoughts alone do not create things. Thoughts plus the embodiment is what creates those things. The word alone is not going to create those things. So what you also must be doing is clearing your physical vessel, optimizing your physical vessel, aligning your energy and your frequency, and doing all of those practices from that intention and from that perspective. And it really is going to change not only your physical health, but your entire reality of how you're experiencing it. And it's going to change how those practices actually are affecting you, and it's going to help you see what ones you should be doing and what you shouldn't, because sometimes we do this from the wrong intention, from the wrong place, and they actually create incoherence within our physical body, which we see in the mainstream world of health as side effects and symptoms, because those things are trying to create a bypass in that coherence, the bypass in not amplifying, not cultivating health, not cultivating this energy within you, where you can actually create resonance and have a much better life, a much more abundant life, a much more peaceful, free-flowing life. They are creating an incoherence, and then you see that in side effects, and then they have to take more and more of these medications and things like that to just kind of mitigate them and you end up creating more disease within the body, which is literally telling you that there's more incoherence within that divine connection. But you can use some of these tools in a different way to create a more coherent physical body, more coherent geometry, so that way your thoughts and your emotions combined create the intersection. So that way your reality manifests, the simulation that we're living in is generated in a much more coherent way, straight in connection with the divine force that made it all in the first place. And if this seems like I'm not really making any sense, hopefully when you watch more and more of these videos, or if you want to go deeper, I can explain this to you personally. Drop me a comment or connect with me on Instagram at Dr. DeMarco, or join my future newsletter that I'm about to launch to go deeper and help people use this principle of harmonic manifestation using your physical body, not just your thoughts, to bring about more abundance, more health, more love, all these things within your life. It will make sense to you eventually, once you start doing it, once you understand these core concepts, because people can do these and they don't fully understand it. You will go and maybe naturally go towards fixing your physical health while you're doing personal development and trying to make yourself better, because that's what naturally has to happen in order for any of this stuff to work. Because when your field is clear, God doesn't whisper. Going back to the beginning of this video, God is real and this is how you hear him speak. When your field, when your body, when your energetic field is clear, when that interference is no longer there, God doesn't have to whisper to you. You will resonate with that frequency and you will hear him speak. He will start working through you. It will become very obvious. And you can tap into the most powerful creative force in the universe that literally made the entire universe. So, I hope that this video and these concepts can maybe start to make some sense to some of the people watching this video. And maybe this triggered some light bulbs for you on why what you're doing isn't maybe working in the best way that you thought, or the best way everybody told you that it's going to work. And what you can actually start to do in order to make them work. Because once you have the formula, once you start practicing the formula, results become more regular. Results become more expected because you're just plugging it in the formula. If you don't, then you're just like kind of playing Russian roulette. And like maybe sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't. So you have to keep on doing it. And you plug in the formula and the results become more consistent. So, hope this was helpful for you. And I'll see you guys on the next video.